Okay. Good day. I am Seithati Motebang from the Department of Development Studies at the University of South Africa. And my co-presenter is Lerato Tshoteli, a former student, master's student at the University of UNISA as well. And we're going to be presenting on the employability of development studies graduates in the context of the fourth industrial revolution, using the case study of the University of Johannesburg. So this is how our presentation is going to unfold. We will start with an introduction that gives us a context, and then the problem statement, and then the theoretical framework, and the methodology, and the findings. I'll present the first three, and Lerato will do the rest. So our problem statement is located within Sustainable Development Goals, where we're looking at SDG 4, which looks at inclusive education and lifelong learning. And what brought our curiosity is the fact that DHET, the Department of Higher Education in South Africa, made an observation that there's a skills imbalance relating to the demand for skills related to the 4IR that far exceeds the available supply. So this results in more vacancies than graduates each year. And yet we know that in South Africa, we have a high unemployment of graduates. So this then brought to the question, why are they not being employed? What do they not have? And what kind of skills are required for the 4IR? But on the other hand, we also have researchers that are suggesting that the 4IR is a system that in a system such as the 4IR, there is a competency and skills that hold greater significance than just the qualification, which is the BA degree that our students have. And such include creativity, critical thinking, etc., and problem solving. And we looked to higher education institutions, which is universities and technical universities, because they shape our society and lead in the acquisition of skills. And it is here where students are equipped with skills and knowledge that is important for innovation and productivity in the various sectors. And these skills and knowledge also enhance career opportunities, and they contribute to the broader economic advancement of society. Therefore, higher education institutions are important for addressing those skills needs and what is required in the market, as well as transforming society for the better. Okay, so when you look at these top 10 skills, one will find that the way they're normally pitched, one thinks that the 4IR is just a purely technological field, and thus is displacing those that do not have the skills. But you find that, for example, at the top, we have critical thinking, then analytical thinking, technological literacy, curiosity and lifelong learning, resilience, flexibility and agility, systems thinking, AI and big data, motivation and self-awareness, talent management and service orientation, and customer experience. Some of these can be present in a degree, but some you also learn somewhere along the way. So we just looked at what is it that is of importance to us as development studies. So we looked at development studies precisely because it is one of those disciplines that is between social sciences and humanities as such. And it focuses on analyzing social structures, economic systems, political institutions to understand how they interact and affect human development. So we decided to use a case study of the University of Johannesburg, and we're looking at what in the South African framework we call a National Qualifications Framework 8. Internationally, it would be an equivalent of your junior degree, because depending on whether you're in Canada or in the US, you'll be using a 12-year basic education and 4-year degree as your general degree. So that's the equivalent of that. But in South Africa, it is regarded as a postgraduate degree. And it is also, development studies is important because it has a multidisciplinary approach, which is crucial for understanding the multifaceted nature of development, especially if we're talking about sustainable development, and also for formulating effective strategies to address these global challenges. Okay. So our objectives then were to understand the extent to which these students who have this degree are ready for the world of work. Does the qualification equip them to be effective and participate, as well as make them marketable in the world of work, especially in the context where we're told that 4IR, if you're not 4IR ready, you are likely to be displaced. So if then 4IR can pose a threat to employment opportunities, we wanted to find out what the experiences of the 4IR are, especially as being development studies graduates, and also whether or not the extent to which they have the skills that are required, if you refer back to that top 10 skills that we mentioned. So we go to the next slide. And to do this, we used two theories, one which is the human capital theory. And this particular theory was important because it emphasizes the role of education and skills in enhancing employability. And therefore, it is assumed that the more one invests in education, the likelier that they will get a job and also be effective in the work that they choose. On the other hand, there is the Paulo Freire's pedagogical approach, which focuses more on the content, especially what they call critical pedagogy, where we look at the purpose for education to say, does it empower me with critical skills to analyze empowerment, to look at social transformation, and therefore it focuses on the role of education as a transformative tool that can be used, not just for the purpose of getting a job. So we thought that the two theories would complement each other as far as looking at the investment in education, the kind of skills that you get, and whether or not that makes one employable, as well as sustainable employment opportunities, especially in the context where there's an assumed threat that this 4IR poses for these graduates. And we know that this is actually more of a problem, especially for humanities and social science students, whom it is assumed do not have technical know-how. And then I'll hand over to Lerato to present the research design and methodology, as well as the findings. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. So I'll be doing the presentation for research methodology that we used to answer our research question. So our study adopted a triangulation of mixed method using an exploratory sequential design that combined quantitative and qualitative method. We used this triangulation because we wanted to gather as much information as we can from the graduates. So what we used as snowball sampling for questionnaires, which we used Google Forms to gather the information. And then also for interviews, we used convenience sampling, which is also called purposive sampling. For data analysis, we used SPSS version 28 for data analysis for quantitative, and then for qualitative, we use thematic analysis. The target of the study was postgraduate students from the University of Johannesburg, specifically honors graduates who graduated between 2019 and 2021. The study achieved an 86% response from the qualitative, which was the first method that we used, from which is 55 participants that participated out of the population of 66, and only 19 participants further participated in an in-depth interview. Okay. So moving to our next slides on the findings, the results presented a mixed results about the level of preparedness for the workplace. Some participants felt underprepared for the workplace, lacking an understanding of 4IR and the necessary employability skills required by the fourth industrial revolution. We also highlighted some figures also that we got from the findings. 94.5% of the respondents were aware of how 4IR is changing the way we live, interact with one another, and also the work environment as well. And 87.3% acknowledge that some tasks originally performed by humans have become obsolete, like it has now, like technology has now taken over some of the work that they were being done by humans. Now they are done by artificial intelligence and so the fourth bullet at 67.3% agree that 4IR will introduce new skills, requirements, and jobs needed, both soft and technical skills. So in this case, when we had to do interviews, most participants indicated that not only do we need soft skill, technical skills, but we also need soft skills in a way that some of the soft skills, technology cannot do them. Skills such as emotional intelligence, problem solvings, and all those kind of skills, which we also noticed that development studies do have some of those skills. So 58.2% of the respondents feel that information on 4IR is not well shared in the public space. As a result, this lack of information may hinder some individuals' ability to adopt new technologies. So although the 4IR has transformed industrial societies and also how we relate and work with each other, there are certain skills at community and national level that requires human interaction, which is what I have just explained now. Some participants acknowledge that while 4IR it's transformative, it still requires human inputs and intelligence, raising a human-machine interface debate, which this can be debated that some of the skills cannot be replaced by any machine, by any machines. So next slide. The fourth industrial revolution, it's the study found that the fourth industrial revolution, it's perceived as a potential threat to job opportunities, particularly in developing countries. There are also assumptions about the types of skills that are required for sustainable employment opportunities, of which some of them Dr. Motebang indicated in the first few slides. And the study found that there are inherent skills that are found in the subject of development studies that are essential for future employability, which 89% also agreed in the study that they cannot be replaced by technology. Okay, so the study has significantly contributed to the field of development studies and also to 4IR as well. It has brought awareness on the implications of 4IR for graduates, future employment, and their ability to seek jobs. It has demonstrated the role of 4IR in development work, especially towards achieving sustainable development goals in a long term. This is also a future guideline for higher education institutions seeking to prepare development studies graduates and other disciplines also for future employability, looking into how the 4II is taking over the world of work and the way we interact with each other in ICE. So I think this is my last slide. Yes, this is my last slide. Thank you so much.
So I was just going to add that in conclusion, we can say that the content that we teach in development studies, and I assume in any other degree, is important as far as teaching you the skills that are required. But on the other hand, even just the methods of teaching, for example, where we ask students to analyze, prepares them to be critical thinkers, prepares them to be aware of the environment where they live, the problems that their communities encounter, as well as how we relate to one another. And therefore, for the longest time, development studies will remain an important qualification and discipline, but what is lacking is that we have not adequately prepared our students on how to seek work in the newly changed world of work and how to highlight those competencies and skills that they have, because they rely to a great extent on the piece of paper, the qualification. They're not able to articulate for themselves what core skills and competencies they've actually acquired from the qualification. Thank you.